What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to Madden 24's franchise deep dive. Originally, I had a video planned to drop during week 1 of the Madden 24 beta with my first impressions of franchise mode, but there was small print in the beta saying don't talk about the beta, and I might have been able to upload the video and been fine with it, but I wasn't desperate enough to get that video out for views and risk potentially having somebody be upset that I'm talking about the beta and flag the video and all that nonsense. I was like, all right, the 29th is when the franchise deep dive drops. I can just react to that deep dive and interject with what I experienced firsthand playing Madden 24's franchise mode. I think if you want just a quick take right now before we get into the video, if you like Madden 23's franchise mode, what were put off by the bugs, the glitches, the crashes, you're going to like Madden 24's franchise mode, because Madden 24's franchise mode just builds off of Madden 23's, and they've added the most customization options that we've seen in a Madden in a very long time. And that's been an important thing to me. It's not the only thing that I've been looking for and screaming for in a franchise mode, but I've definitely always been heavy on, let's add some more customization options. Let me have more control over my franchise mode. Let me have more control over the sliders. Let me fine-tune this franchise mode the exact way that I want to present it and I want to enjoy it. And they gave us those tools in this year's game, plus some of the features that we're going to talk about here today. But I would say that if you were against Madden 23's franchise mode and it wasn't what you're looking for, the features weren't there that you want personally in a franchise mode, I don't know if Madden 24 is going to be for you. But I think, generally speaking, I think we're in for a solid year. I wish maybe there was more innovation if I had to have one critique over Madden 24's franchise, but for not having any innovation, if that wasn't in the cards, that never made the whiteboard of ideas for this year's game, I think everything else they did was very well done for the most part. So let's go through the deep dive here, and I'll talk about it and give you, and if they skip over something that because I have obviously my notes from the video that I originally recorded, I will talk about it. So up first, we have, really they're going to talk about the mini games. And I think that I have a mini rant that I'm going to get to about this. But generally, the mini games are fun. They brought it back. Pretty much reminds me of the old school mini games and training camp battles. I feel like there maybe could be more training camp battle aspect to the mini games, because right now it's kind of it's like the old school where you just play through the drills. You get bronze, silver, gold, or you get a retry until you hit one of those, and you get rewards based off of that. Which is good, right? As you can see here, you get rookie snaps, so that's for your hidden dev players. You can get skill points, you get XP, base XP, but I always just feel I don't know. And maybe this just opens up a different box, but maybe you have cutscenes tied into this, where you could have Justin Jefferson comes to talk to you and says, I don't like Jordan Addison. I don't like the idea we drafted Jordan Addison. I want to go heads up. And then, that cutscene would take you into it. I just feel there's definitely ways to evolve the training camp going forward. And maybe if they had it more intertwined with things that you actually engage with in franchise mode would be cool. But generally speaking, the mini games are fun. The first thing I did when I hopped in, there's a coffin corner, hitting gongs, baby. And I got gold medal the very first time. I actually tried this field goal one. It's pretty ridiculous. This right here, that was my favorite one. But it's cool. It's cool. This is back in the game. It's going to be something that is going to be really fun, especially in franchise content. I'm going to be able to obviously make some pretty fun things here, I think, in relation to the mini games and adding some storylines for all the different players and stuff like that. And it'll be cool to have maybe a breakout guy where you just decide to go with your third string quarterback. Absolutely money. Maybe I feel maybe with these mini games, you're going to be able to find those guys that are really, really underrated. If you're going not necessarily with your starters and using your backup players, you might find that guy that's super overpowered, that's not getting those snaps. But you're God damn, man, in the Oklahoma drill, he was unstoppable, kept breaking tackles. So I do think that, obviously, this is something that people have been saying we want back in the Madden title, because it was an existing feature from previous Maddens. But it's here again. It's well done. And I think it's only a positive that this is back in the game. But as we continue through this, I'm going to go to my one little rant, is that I get it. It's popular hate against Madden. I would like to think that even though I do get, sponsored EA content and stuff like that, that I'm pretty, I get after it. If there's something I don't like, I will talk about what I don't like in a Madden game. Maybe that's why I haven't been invited to the last couple events, but it's just what I am. When I go to these events and stuff like that, I go there to give feedback. I don't go there just to Yes, this feature is cool. This is sick. I literally remember the last time I went, had a page of notes being like, why is this the way it is? Why didn't we give any TLC to this feature? I tell you right now, create a team every single time. So either way, anyways, my point being is that you have this segment of people that are like the negative people about this game, right? Everything sucks. Nothing's ever good enough. And the common thing, especially as it relates to the mini games, is that this feature's not good because they just brought back mini games from like older Maddens. Like that is like a big argument you see for a lot of different features. And while I think the validity to that statement is, let's not gas up EA for bringing back an existing feature. Like they didn't innovate something, they just brought back something. So I feel like there's a level of excitement. There's like a ceiling to that. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like EA's incredible Madden 24 is insane. They brought back this brand new mini games and stuff like that. Like, you can't really say that because they are just bringing back an older feature. There's a box at EA Studios, Tiburon down there in Orlando that has a bunch of old features, and they're ripping it out of the box and jamming it into the new game. But that being said, we haven't had this. This is something that's coming back. I feel like this outright negativity to just say that this feature, because it wasn't something that's brand new, wasn't something that was innovated, therefore it sucks, makes no sense whatsoever because we haven't had it. This is something that has been missing in franchise mode, and we should be happy and excited that it has returned because it's fun. And anything that adds more fun to your experience playing franchise mode should almost always be seen as a positive, not a negative, just because it existed in previous Maddens. So I think the mini games are going to be fun. It's definitely something that, like, there's more than I expected. I'll say that. Like, when we went through the mini games, I was like, holy there's a lot of different options, a lot of different mini games. I don't want to, again, just say negative things for the sake of saying negative things, but if you told me mini games were coming back, I'd be like, all right, they probably added a couple. Like, they went all in. They definitely added enough content to the mini games, which is pretty cool. We have improved team building. So the trade system, they have added more trade slots. You can now have 3 players in a trade that before that was the max you can have, and now you can have 3 draft picks to have 6 total options, 6 total trade slots. As you can see here, you can't do 6 players, but you can do 3 players, 3 picks, or 6 picks, which has been a feature a lot of people have been screaming for. And while I don't know why they would kind of cap it, like I don't know why they would limit, like you should have 6 slots, you should be able to do whatever you want to do with those 6 slots. It's cool. You're going to be able to make more realistic trades. As you can see right there, that they have the 3 picks there and the 3 players. You now have in free agency. It worked a little bit better. I do think something that needs to come up is still the fine-tuning of like what players actually hit free agency. I was still noticing there was some rich, we'll say the best way to put it, there were some rich free agency classes where I kind of find it hard to believe a little bit that exists. Another thing is, you know how in previous Maddens you had to wait to a specific week to re-sign your players? You can just do that right off the bat. You can also do your 5th-year option earlier than waiting till like right before the draft and stuff like that late in the offseason. So they have added more tools for negotiating your players' contracts, which, again, slight quality of life, I suppose. But, this was probably the one feature out of all the different options that I was like, sure, right? You can go through here and now restructure a contract, which is cool. I feel like maybe they could have elaborated a little bit to back end and have a little bit more customization over how you weigh the contracts. But being able to restructure definitely is huge when you're right up against the salary cap. As you saw right there, you couldn't re-sign Nick Bosa, but you can move some money around with some of your big-time players and get those guys over the line. Draft class generators is pretty cool. It's like when you go right into your franchise settings at the beginning of your franchise mode, you have now a tab that says draft class generator, and basically you can adjust the strength and weakness of every single position in the draft class. So if you want a draft class that has stacked quarterbacks, now I would say, generally speaking, I don't want to say this is a needless feature, but like I don't necessarily know what it's for. Like I literally, if you said what would be the way you would utilize this draft class generator, would be like if you're doing like a themed video where you made everyone terrible. Like, can I win a Super Bowl with the worst draft classes every 5 years? Because you can make every single position, quarterback all the way to the punter, very weak in terms of prospects generated, but you can go all the way up to like elite players and have everybody be X-Fact superstars, 70-some plus. So, I mean, I suppose that's kind of cool, but also I'm not necessarily sure what this feature in terms of like needs accomplishes. But you can make some absolute studs, right? You can make some really, really fun players. Two-way players, as you can see, some of these guys here are posting with ridiculous. You can get 6'9" wide receivers. You can get your Taysom Hills, where they're quarterbacks, but they also, like, look at this, like, solid quarterback, not great, but also can play tight end. So, I mean, that's something that I have been kind of screaming for, is adding that athlete that we used to be able to recruit to NCAA, guys that are just pretty good at almost any position. But again, it comes back, even though while I can't say 100% who the feature of customizing your draft class is for. And I mean, hey, if you're just doing your own thing and you really want to draft your new franchise quarterback, by all means, give yourself a juice draft class for the quarterback room. But it also comes back to, like, just having that feature goes into the customization that is in Madden 24 franchise mode. That is still a tool for customization that hasn't existed before, and maybe someone out there is going to need it. They updated the coaching staff. You have a lot more options, a lot more trees. Every coach has a new tree that you can kind of spend and work your way down. Which, I mean, again, the features itself, the tree items that have been added itself, they just kind of extrapolated everything, and instead of making it guards, you now have, like, an example would be like this. Before, this would be like upgrade power of guards, upgrade power of tackle. Now they just extrapolate, like, this would be like upgrade power of left guard, upgrade power of left tackle. So they just, but I mean, still having more features is always going to be better. More ways to earn XP, more ways to develop your team. And this was something that, like, I had as a legitimate knock against Madden 23, is that there was nothing that was added to the talent trees, which was a big feature. So many people wanted coaching trees added in Madden 22. But then in Madden 23, it was just copy and paste. They didn't refresh it, and I feel like, at minimum, every year we should get some new abilities. I'm not saying you have to add a fourth skill tree in Madden 25, but maybe refresh the abilities that are in here. Find ones that just are useless and get ones that are maybe more overpowered, get ones that maybe help with team building a little bit, which, I mean, it's always a dub anytime you get a nice little refresh here. So this was a big one, and this is going to be the Debbie Downer of the video. When I saw that Relocation was getting updated, I was very hyped. This was like the number one thing that I was kind of looking for in a game. And I think the fairest way to talk about the Relocation is that it's better. It fits the mantra of my statement saying Madden 24 has, like, the most customization we've ever had in a Madden. And maybe not ever, put an asterisk next to that. Maybe some of the older games might have that. But to go on this Relocation, so how it works is now it's less tedious. Before, you'd have to do all Relocation. You do one step of the Relocation, sim another week, do another step. It was tedious. It was a long process. Now you can do it all at once. And the easiest way to kind of explain what it looks like is, right now when you go to Relocate, the first step, you can look at the map and you can look at all the different cities. Well, you can do that, and once you pick your city, you have all of the assets that have been in Relocation, like all the teams, from the Thunderbirds to the Huskies to that team in Ireland or whatever, the Shamrocks. Like, all those teams are now options for whatever city you pick. So essentially, Relocation is the same assets, but now you have unlimited customization for how you want to utilize those assets for whatever team you want to make. So I think, in my opinion, I was hoping that there was going to be new teams, new logos, new jerseys, maybe more steps in the process of Relocation that makes it feel fresh and new, when in reality, they did the least they possibly could do while still improving and addressing Relocation. So, put it this way. When I heard that there was new Relocation stuff, I was like, that's what's going to be my Madden 24 franchise mode. I'm going to do a brand new team. And while that's technically true, because I can make it the Toronto Diablos before, when you only could be like the Huskies or Thunderbirds. So I guess technically you could kind of be a new team. But at the end of the day, it's still just the same assets being, mixed around a little bit. And that was a little bit disappointing for me, but it's still better. Like, you can still, at least you're not restricted in how you relocate. You're still not stuck in the exact same options that we've had for the last 10 years. But I would also make the argument for how much, like, this is kind of being promoted. that like they are gassing up the new relocation. I don't know if I'd be giving it this much shine for what they actually did to the process. I do think some of the helmets are new. If I had to say, like, what is, I believe some of the helmets are new. Maybe a bunch of the helmets are new, but the jerseys itself, the logos itself, still are what they are. There's a lot more tools here. And the commissioner tools, again, goes back to Madden 24's franchise mode. Has, like, the most customization in the last couple of years. You can really control free agency. You can control, like, here's actually, right here, the draft class strength. That is where you can set your draft class generator, which, you know, it is what it is. You can turn, look, this was, I would have, my tinfoil hat was like that reorder depth chart feature that happened in Madden 23, where anytime a player was hurt, be it in training, actual injury, you sign someone off free agency where your depth chart would reset. I was almost, like, I thought that was a feature. I thought for sure they're just like, let's just take the think work out of it, and we'll always automatically give the person the strongest depth chart possible. Well, you can now turn that off, which makes me think for sure that's kind of what was working there. But this is a big one here. They have added regression and progression sliders for every single position. So we've always had this thing where Tom Brady would never exist in Madden. Tom Brady exists in real life. He could be a 46-year-old quarterback. He was like 96, 97 overall. But in Madden, you just regress. You regress at a rate. Every single player, regardless of how good you are, regardless of your performance, you regress at the same rate. And Tom Brady in Madden would be like a 60 overall quarterback just because he's 46 years old. Now you can tune your XP sliders for younger players. You could tune your XP sliders for older players to get more XP. You could also tune the regression rates. So you can have it so it's less harsh for your quarterbacks, less harsh for your running backs, especially at that 28, 29, 30-year-old point, where like if they're still playing at a very high level, you are going to be able to tune it so that these guys kind of retain their value a little bit. Now, this is going to be a little bit above my pay grade, but like I'm going to say, like, you stay tuned to Operation Sports. Someone is going to find an absolute money zone for these sliders that is going to be optimized and really is going to work well for your franchise mode. This has actually been something that I've been screaming for a very long time, to get regression and progression sliders into franchise mode. It's not a big feature. It's not a feature that I don't think is going to move a lot of copies of the game, but it's something that's absolutely going to improve the health of Madden franchise mode. So that was really, really good. I get, you know, honestly, they pretty much covered everything that was new in franchise mode. And my summary remains the same. It's just maybe a little bit underwhelmed with, I don't want to say a little bit. I was underwhelmed with what actually went into the relocation updates. But the customization tools, as long as there's no game-breaking crashes and bugs, I think Madden 24 is going to be a fun year. I don't think it's going to be the best Madden franchise mode that we've seen in X amount of years, but as long as it works, as long as it doesn't crash, there was enough. I feel like they did enough from Madden 23 to Madden 24 to be like, all right, let's have a good year. You know what I'm saying? But if Madden 23 wasn't really your thing, I don't know necessarily if there was enough added into Madden 24, but the fact that you can restructure contracts, the fact that they made relocation less tedious, the fact that minigames have been brought back, the fact that there's now really, really good set of commissioner tools, be it edited draft class strengths, be it and another thing I noticed that I will have in closing is the draft classes seem a little bit more realistic. I've actually talked to people on the other end about like, hey, can we get rid of like the top first round quarterbacks being from like Jackson State and stuff like that? I went through, I think, probably 6 or 7 draft classes, and they seem to be a lot more realistic schools. A lot of Ohio States, USC's, Alabama's. They've added regression sliders, progression sliders. They've added ways you can control free agency a little bit, ways that you can add and make things more difficult or make them a little bit more easy, depending on what you're looking for in your franchise mode. And the last thing that I'm going to say in closing, and I lied at the beginning of the video. I said the first thing that I did when I loaded franchise mode was I went to the punt drill, that was the second thing. The first thing I did is I started a franchise mode as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have Kyle Trask right now as their starting quarterback. He's like a 62 overall. I simmed a season with the Bucs. I simmed 2 seasons with the Bucs. You all probably know what I was expecting to see. Kyle Trask, 5,700 yards, 49 touchdowns, 2 picks. Kyle Trask sucked. I simmed a season with the Bucs. Kyle Trask had 12 touchdowns, 15 picks when all was said and done. Playbooks have been tuned down, is at least what I can say. There was a couple trends that I still noticed. Cooper Kupp was ridiculous. Cooper Kupp was still on God mode. He's a guy there was still a couple big sack numbers, but I did not see the Bucs be overpowered. Dallas was a little good, but like, you know, it looks like ratings, I can't say it for sure right now, but my initial impression of playing through Madden 24 franchise mode is that it feels like, at worst, ratings mean a lot more than what they have been in the last couple years, and maybe at least I could say playbooks aren't as overpowered. Playbooks don't have as big of an impact in the sim as they had in Madden 23. So that is my review. Madden 24 franchise mode. What do you guys think? What do you guys take from this trailer? What are you excited for? What do you think they still need to hit on? What do you still want to see? Maybe there's going to be some information I might be able to relay onto somebody else. Let me know in the comment section below, and we'll be back tomorrow with some more franchise content. So that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, it's your boy C4. Say like, subscribe, all that cheesy stuff ahead of this Madden 24 season. It's going to be a banger. It's only a matter of time until we announce what our main channel franchise is going to be. Can't wait for that. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.